Bowtie Guy 85 here, and today we're going to be discussing fit, execution, and accessorizing. There are three things that I feel separate the men from the boys when it comes to fine dressing, and that is fit, execution, and accessorizing. They say the way a man dresses says a lot about him, and I feel like that rings especially true in the office place. If you're wearing things that are oversized or don't fit, things that are damaged or soiled or wrinkled, or just an overall lack of execution on accessorizing, that can give people many ideas about you, that either you don't care about how you look, or you find it a chore to follow the dress code, or just an overall lack of education when it comes to fine dressing. So I thought I would take some time today to elaborate on a few topics that we've discussed in my previous two videos. I would like to begin by discussing suits. Now, when it comes to suits, fit and execution is key. I have already showed you how to measure for your correct pant and jacket size in my previous video, and I would just like to elaborate on that a little bit more. There are different aspects to the suit. There are different styles of suits. I'm wearing a three-piece right now. There's two-piece, there's double-breasted, there's 2-3 buttons, lots of options, and some of it's personal preference, but some of it is tailored to certain body types. So if you're more broad in the shoulders, or you're kind of big in the chest, you want like a notch lapel, or you want a peak lapel, something that's going to accentuate the shoulders. If you're really big up here, you want to avoid like skinny lapels, thin lapels. It's going to look, the jacket's going to look smaller than it really is on you. You may have the correct size jacket, but because of the tailoring and because of the design, it's going to look like it's too small for your body type. And the opposite goes for a smaller frame. There's a reason they make these thin lapels and these different fitting suits, because there are a lot of guys that are really thin. Maybe they're a size 38, 36, venturing toward boy sizes. That's going to be more flattering for their body type. I'm kind of an average build myself, so I like to stick with just a simple notch lapel. If you're a little larger in the middle, you might want to consider a double-breasted jacket. It's going to give the illusion of a slightly slimmer shape. Things like vests are also good. Layering is really good for bigger body types. Also, as well as smaller body types, because the layering will give the illusion of more there than there actually is. Now, we already discussed how the jacket should fit. You want the sleeve to come down about 1 inch above the cuff. This is about how much shirt cuff this should be showing from the jacket. If you've got the jacket buttoned, it should come in slightly here on the side. You can kind of see how mine tapers in. You want to try and avoid the boxy look where it comes just straight down. That means you've got too much fabric going on in here. Towards the back, you want it to lay nice and straight across. If there's any puckering or any rolls, that means that it is too tight in the shoulders, and you may be in the wrong size jacket. Another thing you want to look for is that the shoulder of the jacket does not divot, which is kind of where it comes in like this. That is also a sign that the jacket is too big. You've got extra material here in the shoulders that you're not filling in with your own shoulder, so it causes the material to sink in like that. The suits should always be nice and neatly pressed, wrinkle-free. I do a lot of my own laundering. I use a fabric steamer. You can iron them, you can send them out, whatever it is you want to do. But you should definitely have a suit that is pressed, wrinkle-free, free of any odors or soiling. So those are just a few minutes. Now I would like to take a moment to discuss dress pants. As I mentioned in the previous video, the waistline of the dress pants should fall at the belly button. I like to exceed that myself. And one thing I like to do, and this is again based on daily inspections I grew up with, is I take a tape measure and I find my belly button, and I like to measure from the belly button to the top of my waistline, and you will see here that we are at 5, just a little hair over 5 inches high. Now one trick I use to maintain my height is I look at the placket of my shirt. My shirt, I never show more than 3 buttons of my shirt placket. Sometimes I try to aim for 2. That's a little unrealistic. Another thing with pants, as I just mentioned, the crease. You want to have a nice crease in your pants going from the pleats all the way down to the bottoms of your shoe. Now if you're wearing flat front, the crease is going to fall a little lower. Now there's always a discussion about pleats and flat front. I think some of it's personal preference. Now for a suit, I prefer pleats because I think they're a little more dressier. Flat fronts I think are good for a more casual look, like a khaki or chino or something like that. Also, the gig line of your pants, which is where the zipper is, should be congruent with the placket of the shirt. They should meet symmetrically in the middle. You always want to have a belt or braces to hold your pants up. I prefer braces myself. I think they're far superior to belts, but if you prefer belts, you know, that's up to you. Some of you may have pants with like the side tabs on them, which what's good about those is they allow you to kind of adjust the size a little bit, so you have some leeway in the waistline. They're not as common these days, but that's now I would like to discuss dress shirts. One thing that is really important about dress shirts is the collar size and the sleeve length, and I did explain in my previous video how to measure for the correct size and know the importance of knowing your size. So it just looks bad if, you know, your shirts are oversized. It just looks like you don't know what you're doing. Other things that are important about the dress shirt, making sure that it is nice and pressed, wrinkle-free. There's a lot of great options out there nowadays for wrinkle-free shirts, easy wash things. You can always send them out to be cleaned. You can iron them yourself. I use a steam cleaner for my shirts. The fit of the collar is really important. A nice, firm, stiff collar. Any formal dress shirt is going to have require collar stays. This is going to help the collar hold its shape. These are brass here. They have silver options. There's also plastic ones. I do not care for the plastic as much as I do the brass and the silver, because it can lose its shape over time. The brass and silver are a lot more sturdy, and of course you want to make sure you remove those before you launder them, because they will lose their color and it will end up on your shirt. One thing I like to do to test to see if my collar is the correct fit is what I like to call the paper test. And that is basically a piece of cardstock. You'll notice a dash on here that is about 2 inches up. And I basically will take the index card, place it between my neck and my collar, and push down. Try to go as far as I can with it. And the goal is for the dash to not disappear. And you'll notice that we are about 1 inch away from that, which is right on the money. Now there's an old adage going around that you should be able to fit 2 fingers between your collar and neck, but I feel like that's still too loose. You're being generous with yourself. You want to be able to move around in the collar, but you don't want to be able to see down the collar or have any noticeable gaps, because that just makes it look like you're not aware of your sizes. Also, when wearing a tie with your shirt, the collar should be buttoned to the top. I see so many guys at the office, they'll leave the top button undone, but they'll draw their tie up and act like I don't know any better. Well, that's one of those instances where we're laughing at you, not with you. We know what you're doing, and it's embarrassing, but we're too polite to say anything about it. So, if you're wearing a long tie or bow tie, button the top button, bring your tie all the way up. It just shows that you have respect not only for yourself, but for your coworkers. Lastly, I would like to discuss accessorizing. Now, I know I have several videos up on various menswear accessories, so I would like to take this opportunity to explain the importance of accessorizing. Accessorizing is a way to boost one's look. It kind of gives you that extra little something. So, you know, if everyone else around the office is wearing a suit and tie, you want to get noticed. You know, try adding a pocket square, lapel pin. If you wear French cuff shirts, then you can show off the cufflinks. If you're wearing a vest, you can always do like a watch chain. There's a lot of different little things you can do. And what it does is it kind of shows that you care about your appearance even more, because a lot of office places, they don't specify accessories in the dress code. So you're taking it on your own accord to add these things to your look, which just kind of gives people the idea that you are really invested in your appearance. Not to mention, it's a great way to kind of personalize your look and kind of add your own personality to it. Like in terms of pocket squares, there's many different folds you can do. My philosophy is, if you're going to wear it, why not show it off? So I always have it nice and puffed up. Sometimes I experiment with different folds. You can do a plain T-square fold. That's a more kind of classic conservative look. You can do the puff like I have. There's pleated folds. There's point folds. I've got a couple of videos on the subject. You're more than welcome to check out. Cufflinks are a really great way to add personality to the look. I'm going for kind of a patriotic theme here today. So I've got my flag cufflinks. They make all kinds of different cufflinks now. There's plain, like gold and silver brass ones you can have engraved. There's different patterns and designs. They have ones for like different holidays, and there's different colors, and it's a great way to add some personality to your look. Lapel pins are also great. I have a few for work that I wear. I'm just doing the flag pin for now. Flower pins as well, or boutonnieres are also nice. And when it comes to like the accessories, I kind of like everything to coordinate. You'll notice my tie, it's like a red and white striped. So I've got my red silk square, and I've got my red boutonniere. And then I've got the flag cufflinks and the flag pin to kind of tie the look all together. So that is and I feel like accessorizing is a very good way to separate the men from the boys, because not everybody understands how to coordinate the accessories for one. On top of that, the execution of the accessories, so it shows that you understand fine dressing, and it's more than just an obligation for you because you take the extra time to add these touches to your look. So those are just some notes on fit, execution, and accessorizing. I hope you have found this video informative. As always, like and subscribe at the bottom. Until next time, this is Bottega 85 signing off.